Hi, good afternoon. So I just want to say welcome back to another day of Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vibers. I know I have been missing for quite a while, and thanks to those individuals who have been keeping abreast and keeping tabs on me to ensure to find out what's going on with the program. So we are back here officially. And one of the things I'm happy about is that I have a panel of young people sitting here. We are just ready to talk, we are ready to interact, and we're ready to have fun. So before we go any further, before I introduce these individuals to you, in fact, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves today. And so you will get to hear their voices even before they begin answering questions. So what I want you to do, if you haven't done so as yet, just share this broadcast to your pages, because remember, while you may not be suffering from this direct problem, there might be someone else who is facing this issue. So let us pray. Great God and eternal Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father God, in a special way, we pray for each and every member of the audience who will be viewing. Lord, I pray that you will continue to strengthen them. May you continue to guide them. May you continue to direct their pathways. And Father God, even as they sit and interact with the program today and even with the members of our panel, I pray, Lord, that each and every one of us will have a wonderful time. At the same time, learning can take place. Have your way, we pray, through Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, great. So we are here again. And at this point in time, I am so elated. I think this is the very first time I have like only like young people. I mean, we had programs for adolescents, we have programs for children, but in terms of young people, I could basically tell you the ages of these individuals. I won't tell you publicly right now, though. Don't ask. But I am so enjoying this. And I know for any young person who is facing the issue of time management, I want you to know that many of us face that challenge from time to time. And these young people will be able to address your issues. So I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves today to you, and we are going to take it from there. Over to you, my loving guests, this afternoon.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Harris, and I am a Seventh Adventist youth. Actually, I serve as the National Youth Ministries Coordinator, and professionally, I am a crop extension officer and lecturer. And I'm happy and certainly delighted to be a part of this program, Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vipers this afternoon.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. And I just want, before we take the next person, I just want to say to the audience, remember, the only how we can know that you're here and I can shout out to you is if you put a comment in the comment section saying good afternoon or just saying hi, Donella, just saying something, because I miss you guys so much over the past days. Well, a week and something I haven't been on the program yet. So place a comment there and let's interact. All right, who'll be next to introduce themselves?
All right, I can go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Austin. I'm so happy to be on this program today, and it gives me great courage as well to know that I have a colleague here with me as well. I lecture at GSA as well. He does too, and I lecture in the Department of Forestry. So I hope you guys will enjoy as we try to help you understand what we can do with time management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You see, when you have lectures on your program, to my audience, by the way, let me just say hi, Sarah. I miss you guys. Seriously. Hi, Denise. Yes, yes. I'm so happy I'm back. And I must let you know something. Alicia, I'm happy to see you on the program once again, my dear. I want you to know that because of, I wouldn't say time management, but because of my time issues that I'm facing, doing too much, I actually had to select a group of young people who will be working with me, and they will be officially introduced to you one of these good days. I'll bring them all on the program, and you will get to see their faces. Some of them would have been, well, all of them have been active members in terms of participating on Issues in Focus. Either they were always busy in the comment section or they were guests on the program. So you will get to meet them. And these young people have been helping me in terms of formulating questions and they have been behind me. Last week we had our very first meeting, and they told me there is no way that you can stop this program. So I must say thank you to those young people. I will not mention their names today, but you will hear about them the next session that we have. I will formally introduce them to you, and I must say thanks to them for keeping me accountable for this program. And yes, so we will be back every day because they will be on my side to ensure that I have things going. So nice to have Mark and Paul. And trust me, if you guys, you see, when you have, I was saying, when you have lecturers with you, those are assignment people, folks. So time management, they know what they're talking about. All right, good. So I'm going to take the next two individuals. We have John and we have Crystal. Whichever one of you want to go first, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, my name is Crystal Nelson. I am a medical student and a youth leader at my church, and I'm quite elated to be a part of this program this afternoon to speak about time management because I know that's a very important issue. And after today, I was messaging Shabiki about time management because I had the meeting and then I had a lot of emergencies that came up. But by God's grace, I was able to manage time effectively to make it back here for this meeting. I'm sure that we have a wonderful time here together.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you very much. John? All right, it seems like John has been frozen on us. We're praying against the internet access in the mighty name of Jesus. Lord, we need the internet to be up and running for each and every individual. All right, good. No, I'm not hearing you, John. So your microphone is muted also. Unmute again.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is John Eugene. I am an aspiring nursing student at the University of the Southern Caribbean. I am a vocalist. Most of you will say a singer, but I am very intrigued about the Bible and God. And yeah, that's basically it.
All right, thank you very much, John. And John, you know, one of the things we usually do with the singers when we have them on the platform. In fact, I don't even have to tell you this. You know this. Any singer that comes to this platform, I usually ask them to sing a verse of a song or something. And I know that is not anything strange to you. So while I welcome the other guests, please, I know you know a lot of songs in your head. So you're just going to sing a portion of a song. So I just want to say welcome to Hi Zion. It's good to have you here again. And Dr. Hidar. Okay, I love this here. Dr. Hidar said it's beautiful rainy afternoon in the beautiful Guyana. I'm here to be empowered and guided. Yes, I'm happy about that. Hi, Sister Deborah. Good to have you here too. Gavin. Yes, Gavin. So I'm gonna put them to sing. I know I wouldn't set Paul and Crystal up and Mark up today. You know what I'm saying, right? So, John, let us just hear a verse from you. Let the audience hear your melodious voice.
I can select a song for him, you know.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Selection.
Basics of
That's
life,
right.
at least the chorus, basics of life.
All right. All right. We've turned the page forward and beyond of what is right and what's wrong. Somehow we drifted so far that we can't get back home. And where are the virtues that once gave us life? And where are the morals that governed our life? Someday We all will awake and look back just to find what we've lost. We need to get back to the basics of life, a heart that is pure and a love that is blind, a faith that is fervently grounded in Christ, the hope that endures for all times. These are the basics. We need to get back to the basics of life. We need to get back to the basics of life.
Audience, what do you think about that song and the voice that you're hearing this afternoon? What a wonderful way to start our program. And just to put some kicks on, I'm just gonna put a few comments on my guests who have been into. I have to put their comments up, because I think this is a good laugh to start off our program with. And I feel would have said, "Hey, don't ever put Paul Harris and Crystal Nelson to sing," and he will know what he is saying, right?
At least I could make a good selection, Shibiki. I could select a good song.
I like that.
I'll continue to sing in my heart. Don't worry. Don't worry.
All right, great. So we're gonna go, we're gonna continue. Ashiba, welcome to you. Then we have hi Catherine, my friend from Uganda. We have Delon. Yes, yes, yes. So welcome everyone. So let's get into the first question that we want to explore today. Remember, audience, you can place your questions there. You can comment your comments too. We love your interaction and it will go far away. So the first question I want to ask each one of you this afternoon: why is it important? Why do you think it is important to manage your time? And anybody can begin. I there's a part I love when my audience is silent. I love the fact when I can just randomly call people's name. So you can choose whichever method you want me to utilize this afternoon.
So I believe time management is very important because, as we know, time and tide waits for no man, and every second should count. And there is time and place for everything that we do. So, in light of that, we need to manage effectively the time that we have so that we can be able to make the most of every opportunity, the most of the time that we're given, so that we can indeed achieve our purpose in life because God has created each and every one of us with a purpose. Amen.
Amen. Preacher sister.
If I may,
Go ahead,
you can
Mark.
hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Time management is very important. Knowing that each of us have just 24 hours every day, it is something that we need to make good use of, because if we do not make good use of it, time does not wait on any one of us. It flies by without us knowing. So we need to ensure that we manage our time properly so that we can, have the best life that we need to have or should have.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Mark.
Shibiki, I could, a very long time ago, when I looked at this whole issue of time management, I remembered someone saying that really and truly, we do not need to manage time. What we
Hmm.
really need to manage is ourselves, because time remains the same. Time is the constant factor, 24 hours, whatever it is. But what we have to really do is to manage ourselves. How do we utilize? We ask ourselves, how do we utilize the time that has been afforded or allocated to us, right? And so when we answer that question, it will help us to realize how important time is, because while time is a constant factor, it
Yes.
is in a given day, it is not unlimited. And so whether we do something or do not do something, that time, that 24 hours that would have been allotted to us for the day would expire. So if we want to ensure that we utilize that 24 hours, probably it's just an hour for something. If we want to ensure that we utilize it effectively and that we are able to accomplish what needs to be accomplished, then we have to be able to manage ourselves and the time that would have been allotted to us so that we could accomplish tasks effectively. Um, and there are lots of other reasons, like we could become less stressed because, and I know this will come out later, but as a student, you have exams, you have assignments to do, and sometimes you say, "Man, look, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the night before," and then you realize that other things come up, and that you are unable to actually do this thing properly. So managing time will help you to accomplish tasks effective and efficiently. It will
Yes.
help you to reduce your stress. Sometimes I see people running helter skelter trying to get things done, when they had lots of time to get it done. And as a lecturer, and we started by saying that I'm a lecturer, but as a lecturer, I've watched in classes students literally running, trying to get things done just in the nick of time
Yeah.
when you would have given them the assignment to complete in advance. All right, so time management is definitely important and essential for us to be able to accomplish our tasks, to reduce stress, and lots of other things I could mention, but I allow others to do so.
Thank you very much, Paul. John.
As a
Okay, go ahead,
as a
Crystal. Crystal has something to.
Time management. Okay, go ahead, Crystal.
Sorry, I was just going to say, as a student, let's represent the students for a minute.
Are we gonna
Sometimes,
we're
yes,
gonna
we
come
have.
to the we're gonna come to the students also because there's an important question that I want that is coming up that I want you to personalize it because I know all of us we were students even before Paul was a student even before he reached a lecture. So I know all of us we had our issues. So we're gonna come to that student aspect of it, and you will be in your full defensive mode. That's all right. So we're gonna come to it. Just let us take John's comment.
No
Okay.
problem.
Time management is very important, a very important aspect, and in which shows your ability to like impact your productivity and these type of things, as Paul was saying. And it is also important because you get to tasks, complete any task that you set out your mind to do. And it is possible to meet your deadlines and to complete each project, your school project on time and so.
Thank you very much, John. So just before we continue, I just want to say greetings to Hydration. It's good to see you here. Um, as Delon has a point here, and this is it what he says. He said time is one of the four T's of stewardship, and we all know what it as relates to stewardship, right? And as stewards, we are required to manage those four T's, of which time is one. Thank you very much, Delon, for sharing that. And hi, Miss Southwell, welcome to you this afternoon. And so the other question that I want you to ask now, and this is the one I want persons to personalize because we will see how the excuses comes in, from time to time. And so the question goes, looking back at your experience as a student or your current work or studies, do you think that poor time management contributes to low success? So, Crystal, you were about to make a point, and perhaps if you want to begin this particular question, go right ahead. The lecturers are listening.
Question, but I'll start off with that. Not really statement, but just like an observation. Oftentimes, as students, we are given a lot of work. So that's why oftentimes we might be scurrying to complete it. Because what I've come to recognize, most lecturers believe that their subject might be the only subject. While I'm sure that you wonderful Adventist lecturers would not be like that. But there are others who feel as though their subject is the most important one. And as such, you should put the most work in. But as students, we need to ensure that we parcel off the work to ensure that everything is accomplished in a timely manner. And that does not justify us running about, because oftentimes, yes, we do procrastinate. And I know that we oftentimes like to blame it on procrastination. And it's quite true, we do. But I still believe that for some lecture at least, I would go and speak to them. So on behalf of the students, we think that this time limit might be a little bit too small for us to accomplish the task in a way that you would be pleased with the work that we'll produce. So we ask for maybe just a day or a week more. And a lot of them, they're quite kind enough to provide us with it because they're quite understanding. Some of them, others, they might be quite harsh. And as such, you'll be able to know to prioritize those that you know for sure that they would not in any way waver. But for the others, you can kindly speak to them. I'm sure that they would be willing to give you a listing here. Amen? So back to the question though. Yes, I do believe that poor time management contributes to low success. Because as you said earlier, we need to manage ourselves so that we can allow the time to work for us. Everything that we have to do, we still have to fit it within that time frame. I think this will make more sense like when we get to the next question, I believe. But for me, I do believe that poor time management contributes to low success. I can give you one example. I can remember back in school, I was back in high school, that is, I was not the best with time. I'm not going to lie. I was always rushing to finish assignments because I was of the belief that when I have too much time, I would overthink things. It was true. I used to sit and I would overthink everything and I would keep adding and adding. And then when the time came up, I would still want to add something else or take something from it. And I realized that it took away from my work, like the originality, like the first thing that I wanted to give. So the first time I had this class, this teacher, she was quite particular. Nothing that I did, like all the rest of the teachers, they were quite nice. But that one teacher, she was, I don't know what it was. She would never give me full marks. And I was a child, I always wanted to get as much marks as possible. So I took in the assignment to her one day. I sat down. Only her assignment, I was dedicated. And I finished her assignment a week in advance, submitted her assignment. When I got back to work, Miss -5 for no reason. And I'm like, I don't think this is fair. And I was going up. I said, I'm never going to do another assignment early again. I will do it. I was so sad and disheartened. But afterwards, I spoke to her and I said, Miss, I don't understand why is it. She said, Crystal, I know that if I give you full marks, you become complacent in my work. So I will always make you push to make yourself better. And I was like, there's so many other ways you could have taught me that, other than taking away my marks that I worked very hard for. But me and the teacher, because she's my teacher back then, we became quite good friends. And from that, I started to learn the importance because when I was finished with that assignment, I was able to go on to doing the others and doing the next one. And I was like, I was on a roll. And I was like, you never know, it was like you fit in your mojo, like you were just flowing. So I believe that once you manage your time effectively would eradicate that rush. And yes, you get to think a lot better. Yes, sometimes you can be able to overthink things. That's why my new way of looking at assignments is I have a mental, like I would be given a deadline that the teacher would impose. But in my mind, I give myself a new deadline. So oftentimes, and I give myself this, like I believe these deadlines so much that I would send in this assignment and I would start messaging my friends and I'd be like, I hope y'all sending y'all assignments on time, assignment due tonight. And they're like, Crystal, this assignment due next week. What are you talking about? I'm like, this assignment is due tonight? I just sent in this assignment. And they're like, no, the assignment due till next week. But that has been working the best for me because I see myself, I ensure that I am able to complete the assignment in an earlier time, and as such I am able to finish more work in more time. And this has helped me even more so now since we're in this COVID time. I'm in medical school, you know the amount of work that they keep piling on top of the other, and we had assignments after assignments. And by giving myself these mental earlier deadlines, I was able to stretch out the work and be able to better better manage myself and better complete the assignment in a timely manner, less stress on myself. All of the work persons were calling, they were worried, they were like, we don't know what to do. And I was able to calm them down because I myself was calm because I was less stressed because the work was finished. And I was able to calm them too. They were able to sit down, realize what they need to do, and organize themselves to complete it also. Compared to back in high school, that was not the case. I was just rushing and I'm just a bundle of fury. Yes, I completed it, but I knew to myself that that was not my best work. So I believe with giving yourself time and pacing yourself and adequately managing your time and yourself to complete your task, you are able to be calm and be able to produce your best work possible. And now I'm able to trust myself more with the work I produce because back then, as I said earlier, I would always be second guessing myself. Okay, I could add this, add this. So I do all my thinking earlier. So when I'm getting ready to work, I know that okay, this is the time I'm working with, and I'm able to finish it. Sorry for talking so much, but
All right, thank you, Crystal. And even before we go on, Tracy made a point here, and I know Tracy, you may have joined us late, but I know one of our members of our panel would have spoken about this already. Time is unmanageable. The clock keeps ticking. We would have discussed this, and we need to manage ourselves and our priorities. Consistency and realistic goals within the time frame are important. Procrastination is not about time; it's about poor management of priorities. Yes, thank you very much for that contribution there. All right, great. So as we continue, um, all right, whoever will go ahead. I noticed Mark and John between the two of you, your microphones it was on. All right, go ahead, John.
I express the same sentiments as Crystal right now because USC life is very hard. And these teachers, they, as she said, they believe that is their subject alone you doing, right? And if it indeed contributes to low success because if you in do it on time, they have another one coming on you and another one and another one and another one. You have to like plan out your day in order to like
Thank you,
achieve
John.
good
And I'm happy that
success.
the two lecturers they're for last so that they can really speak on this matter. But as students, it's always we always say that, right? That lecturers are not considerate of us and all of those things. So I want to hear what the lecturers have to say about this particular issue that students are talking about at this point in time. So whichever Mark, Paul, go right.
Let me go. Let me leave Paul for last. I don't understand it, but like all students think the same. They always come with the same point. These lecturers only think that it's them course alone we got to do. Well, how is it that each student can say the same thing? However, while it is true, it all comes back to the management and prioritizing what you have to do and stuff like that. I can give you a perfect example. When I was in fourth year of the university, I didn't pay no mind and no attention to chemistry. Paid no mind and no attention to chemistry. One of my seniors told me you have to treat chemistry like your girlfriend, like your baby. I paid no mind to it. At the end, when the grade came out for chemistry, it was not what I wanted, but it proved that hey, I had no time with it, and my time management or my management of the time that I gave chemistry was very much poor, and you know it was not the grade that I wanted, but I didn't put in the effort or prioritize chemistry. So indeed, that if we poor time management, it really affects our success. As Crystal and both John were saying, it sometimes more stress is added to what we have to do, and we rush things, and sometimes it's not the ideal work that we want to put in or the right captions or knowledge or information, and it affects the outcome of our grades. Hence, the question.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Shibiki, I might have been unfair to you by starting off this discussion about lecturers and students. Um,
Go ahead.
because it now appears as though we have two members on the panel who are on the proposition and two members are on the opposition. But I like the fact that it did come up because it helps us to it provides a nice example, relatable example for us to highlight the importance of time management. We do understand that persons, especially in academia, you will be given a number, or you have a number of tasks to accomplish. Not only assignments, you have to study, etc. What that says to us is that in life, it's not only one thing that we'll have to accomplish. And so, because of that, we have time frames in which things must be accomplished. That says to us that we have to manage or fix or set our priorities right so that we could successfully accomplish what needs to be accomplished within a particular or within the allocated time.
Yeah.
Let me use that word, the allocated time. So when a lecturer gives an assignment, it is given for a particular period of time that the lecturer believes, given the content that is required, that the student has the potential and the ability to satisfactorily complete that assignment as long as they get their priorities right within that time. So I understand Crystal's point. All the lecturers give assignments, etc., and everybody believes that theirs is important and is the most important. But on the student's point of view, in relation or in regards to our topic this afternoon, when these things are given, the student must prioritize and manage his or her time so that he or she can accomplish what needs to be accomplished. Now, the question that was posed, I can share personal experiences. Now, I am not saying that I am a successful manager of time in all cases, because I have had many instances as a student and even now as a professional whereby you would have neglected and you would have procrastinated, but you would have still had to complete a task for a given deadline. And being forced to complete that task, in some cases, there are two sides of the coin. In some cases, it brings out the best in you. You're able to put, you're all into it at the last moment, and you're able to do a good job. But while that is happening, we are failing to realize the other damages that are being caused. So I might have put off, I may have put off doing something, a task, a particular task. Let's say I was given a week for it. I put it off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I say, you know what, Thursday I can start this thing. And then I had to rush and sacrifice other things, my sleep, time with family members, all sorts of other things to accomplish that task. So while I am benefiting in one area, other areas are being neglected. And so that is why management of time is important, because you want to ensure that all areas of your life is given sufficient attention and time,
Yes.
right? One other example, when I was attending university, there was one semester in which I was only doing, I think, 3 courses. So I had a lot of time available to me. So there are some days I was just probably going to UG for 2 weeks, 2 days in the week. And when the results came out, I got B's. But then there was another semester whereby I had 5 courses. So my slate was packed. I was going to university every day of the week. And when the results came out, I got A's. So sometimes as human beings, we are wired to think that, look, when we have little to do, we always believe we have lots of time. And so we
Yeah.
allow the time to flow by like a river, like a stream. It just flows. And then realize, oh boy, I am nearly at the edge of the cliff. I'm about to fall over the waterfall. And that's when we catch ourselves. And my final point is that the issue of management and prioritizing and having getting stuff accomplished also lies and is linked to our personality type.
Yes, for sure.
Um, a sanguine versus a melancholic versus a phlegmatic choleric, we are going to operate differently. And so you have got to know what is going to work best for you. Now, later down, we may come to this whereby we talk about how do we actually manage time, how do we actually prioritize, and so on. And we will see that you have to know, look, is 2 days sufficient for me to accomplish what needs to be accomplished? Or do I need to really utilize 5 days? A personality type, one personality type might say, look, you see me, as soon as I get this task to accomplish, I will start it and finish it ASAP. Another person will say, I will wait until the night before and do it. Either, you have to ensure that at the end of the day, um, some other part of your life is not affected. So the aim
Definitely.
of us this afternoon is really to see how we can, you know, do things in a more systematic way so that at the end of it, no area is affected.
Thank you very much, Paul, for sharing that. And I just want to scroll up and I just want to say to the audience, remember we all have our 24 hours, right? And it's how you use it matters, right? So there's a comment here that I made. I know it would have come in handy sometimes. So Paul, I'm looking at Gavin's comment here when he said not necessarily. Okay, when I think Krista was talking about something. But the point that I want to highlight here from his comment is that he works well under pressure. So last minute is his thing, right? So and that is it coming back to personality type that you would have examined there. And for me personally, I am not a last minute person in everything, but I realized like I could be here. Somebody may ask me, okay, Shibik, you have a presentation to make next month. In my mind, that's next month. I have a calendar or I have my book, I write the date, and I don't forget events like that. If you tell me I have to preach or I have a presentation to make or I have to do anything, in my mind, there is just something about it. I will hardly forget the event, right? But to get doing what you asked me to do, I wouldn't get doing right away. So Paul, it will just be there. And in my mind, I'll be brainstorming and it's like I'll be weeks on that thing, and it's like nothing coming. Sometimes I'm praying and nothing coming. But then the event is maybe a couple days away, and all of a sudden, ideas are just pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. And so indeed, like what Gavin would have said there, I find myself that there is something about I wouldn't even really put it directly that many times I wouldn't really consider me being under pressure. But then when it comes to the close of events, you know that, hey, this thing has to be completed. And your brain is just wired to think and to,
Exactly.
and the task is accomplished. And nobody, those who really know me and that are in my behind the scenes backdrop says, Shibiki, not today you did that thing. And I'll be like, yeah, the audience don't have to know that, and nobody will ever find out that I just did it. Right. So again, it comes
Exactly.
back to personality type as I feel says sanguine in the house. Yes, I'm a sanguine, right? And we are big on our energy,
Shibiki, if I may.
call and write down everything and have your things in order. Okay, today I'll be looking at X, tomorrow Y, on Thursday, on Wednesday I'll be looking at Z, and then on Friday I'll start back at A. That's like stress in itself, right? But it varies from person to person. All right, but the idea about it, we want our young people, especially our students who are listening, um to get the idea of we don't want you to be facing a jam. Some of us can do it the last minute, but all of you cannot do it. So I don't want anybody to leave this afternoon feeling like, hey, I could do it. Look what Shibiki said. That's what I've been doing. But then you may not be able to produce an A report or whatever. But then your timings might be, you may have to take weeks. Christian may have to take one night. Paul may have to take 2 days, but it depends upon individual to individual. So don't compare yourselves with others. See what works best for you, which brings us to our next question that we're going to look at. What I want to know in terms of managing time, We understand we've been talking a whole lot about prioritizing, right? But I want you to personalize this. How do you prioritize your task or your schedule? So perhaps you may need to give us an example, because there might be some member in our audience, they're having the problem. Because I mean, I've been a teacher before for so many years. I always had students who came to me with this issue. Miss, I am trying. I know your work is due, but I don't know. I just don't know how to do it. And so today we're going to ask to see how best we can come up with something, or maybe they will share how they have been doing it, so that they can actually help us to manage this. And before you begin answering, I just want to say, even our adults, married, unmarried, professionals, there are many persons facing this issue. They don't know how to manage their priorities within the 24 hours that would have been allotted to them. I want to say welcome to, who did I miss? Karima, yes. Karima Cummins, welcome to you. And we have, hi, Nurse Hines. Lisa Morrison, welcome too. So let's get to this question. In terms of in managing time, there needs to be prioritizing. How do you prioritize your tasks or schedule?
Well, I create my to-do list like with the level of importance, like from and according to the deadlines as well. You set your to-do list, you plan your day out, and you accomplish. Because if you only like if you plan it for a day, you have to do it for the day. If you don't do it for the day, it's trouble. So you create a to-do list. You write down, say, I will do this today, I will do this today, I'll do that tomorrow. And you plan your let me say your schedule out and complete all your tasks.
All right, so we have the first point there. And anybody who may be taking note, please, you can have a book, start writing. The first thing you may need to know, hi, Miss Johnson, is to write your document, document it. So just put point number one, write a to-do list. It might help you a whole lot. All right, let me take the next member. Who will be next?
All right. For me, as it relates to managing my time and prioritizing, I think what I generally do is I do mental lots of mental planning and prioritizing.
Okay,
So while John may write it down, and let me say that there are some things that just need to be written down. All right, there are
right,
some
please.
things that you just must write down. You know, when we were growing up, they say the the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory, something like that.
Yes,
So some things you have to write down, some goals you have to write down, deadlines you have to write down, some of them. But for me, I generally prioritize and plan in my mind. So I have a weekly plan, I have a monthly plan, yearly plan, and daily plan in my mind. So basically what happens, I whenever something new comes in, I in my mind say, okay, when do I need to accomplish this by? What is the deadline? So I establish what is the deadline. So let's say somebody asks me to do a presentation at a church, September 25th. So I say deadline September 25th, and I store it in my mind. Then I ask myself, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to put in place to be successful at this presentation? What information do I need? I ask myself questions. Do I need to go and look for additional information? Do I already have information on this topic? Do I already have a document that is prepared? When I answer those questions, it lets me know what amount of work I need to put in
yes,
to accomplish that presentation. So, for example, if I already have something, I could say, look, I do not need to attend to that task urgently. Today is the 7th, so it's still the 25th. I don't need to attend to it urgently. So I reschedule when I will look at it. So I'll say, you know what? I'll probably look at it on the 18th or around that time because I already have information. So mentally, that is what is happening in my mind. Now, if it is a task that is completely new to me and depending upon the scope of it, I may have to start now. Sometimes it may require me getting additional people, getting knowledge or information from additional people. And I have to realize as well that how I may operate might not be how somebody else will operate. So, in such a
True.
case or scenario, if I need information from Shibiki, I will have to contact her early. So, I can't wait until the 18th to contact Shibiki. I will do that early. So, all this for me happens in my mind. That's
Mm,
just one example. Um, so, as things come in, I file them mentally and attach deadlines, etc., to them. On a daily basis, what happens is that probably the night before or when I get up in the morning, I say, okay, what are the tasks to be accomplished today? So you would have done it. What are the tasks to be accomplished for the week? And you say,
yeah.
look, Monday, XYZ. But then you have a daily schedule now. What are the tasks to be accomplished today, Monday, September 7th, 2020? Well, I know that the major task that I needed to accomplish today was to be on this program. So I said, okay, how do you prepare yourself for this program? Well, you need to at least refresh your mind, get some new information. And so you started to prepare, you read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there might be other days whereby you have additional stuff to do, things that require you to move around, travel, contact people. Those will require a little bit more processing in your mind. And especially in situations whereby you have to touch different places or go different places, you want to establish a plan mentally. Okay, there are some things that are important and there are some things that are also urgent. So when you
Definitely.
make your plans, when you prioritize, and I'm talking specifically now about prioritizing, you have to look at everything that you need to accomplish and determine there are some things that are important. We agree. They are important, they need to be done, right? On the other hand, there are things that are urgent. It needs to be done now. It needs to be done by 2 o'clock. Then there are things that are urgent but not important. Sorry, they are urgent, but they are not important. So, in other words, I don't have to do it, but I can delegate it to somebody to do. Right? Then there are things that are not important and not urgent. So
Mm,
those things, obviously, in terms of priority, will be last on my list because they are not important, they are not urgent. So let's try to find the order. So the first things on your list should be the things that are important and urgent. So you go through your mind, look at all that you need to accomplish, and you determine what are the things that are important and what are the things that are urgent. And those things should take first priority. Then
definitely.
you look, then you look at the things that are important but not urgent. So it's important, but it's not something that needs to be done now. Now, however, when you look at that, you need to determine when it needs to be done or when it will really and truly become urgent, and you schedule it. So those things that are important and urgent, you do it right away. Those things
Yes.
that are important but not urgent, you schedule it. Say when it will be done. Those things that are not important but they are urgent, you delegate it. So you could probably get somebody to do it for you. And then those things that are not important and not urgent, you can cancel it. In other
Mm,
words, it doesn't really contribute to any
yeah.
achievement for the day, for the week, or whatever. And that for me is what happens in my mind on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Right?
Thank you.
So I think that's a nice strategy that persons may be able to use.
Yeah. And even before we go to the next person, I just want to encourage the audience at this point in time. Hi, Marissa, Benjamin, welcome to you. That there are many, many of our young people who are facing this issue, not knowing how to manage the 24 hours that they have been given. And I want to encourage you to share this broadcast to your page. Share it. You may have somebody else. There's also the YouTube link, of course, if those who want to maybe connect via YouTube, Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vivals, and check and see, just send the link to them, because at the end of the day, even right now, amidst COVID, the persons have assignments to do. And I mean, it's a different system altogether, because now a lot of persons are really and truly getting accustomed to doing work on the internet, via the internet, and submitting assignments and things like that. So use this opportunity to share this broadcast to them, so at the end of the day, they can get some steps in order to dealing with their time issues that they may have. Yes, Mark, Crystal.
I like the idea that we have people who have the same mind here. So we are all thinking alike. So Paul elaborated on urgency and importance. That is how I prioritize stuff. And with that
Mhm.
being said, I now hand you over to Crystal because everything else was covered.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Oh, well, for me, I prioritize also based on what is important and what needs to be done for, like, most importantly, should I say that? Or what most, yeah, what's most important? For example, I can give, and also based on, like, I have to characterize when it comes to schoolwork and when it comes to, like, church and other life matters. For example, for
Mhm.
me, I would have a plan. When I'm at home, it's a different scheduling from when I am, for example, when I was at USC or when I'm at UG or when I'm at school wholeheartedly. Because when you're at school, you have that time in school. For me, I like to ensure that I complete my schoolwork and I would go to school. I said, okay, I will do this and that because when I come home, I want to ensure that I have time for my family and friends. So I would have like my schoolwork. I want to complete it. I want to complete this assignment today at UG in the library. I will do that in my break
Yeah,
time and I would, because you have free periods between. So I'll say, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. However, when I'm at home, I have to ensure that I have to put in place time slots because I know my mother will call me to say, Crystal, I need you to go and do this for me. I need you to go and do that with me. While I might have my schedule, she also have her schedule, and that might be urgent to her. So then I might have to put off what I'm doing to run to do what she needs to get done at that time. So for me, that's when my scheduling or my time management might have to, it's more flexible than others. But what I ensure is that if I want to complete this task, I will have a list of tasks I would like to do. I will complete it that day. For example, if I'm at home and I say I'm going to clean the windows today, I'm telling you, even if my mother calls me, I leave cleaning the window, I go to town and I come back. I am cleaning that window. I will finish by 12 o'clock midnight. I am coming back to finish cleaning that window because that's the type of person I am. I like to ensure that what I have for that day I complete it. If it needs to go over, I know that okay, I'm starting today on that. And like I must ensure that the next day I have time for that. While Shabika, I understand that you're good with dates. I am not the best with dates. So I make sure that when I'm scheduling, I schedule per week. That works for me. So I could remember Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But when you start telling me on the 24th and then on the 19th, I would write it down in my calendar. I'm telling you, I will forget until I see it pop up on Google Calendar and it'll remind me, okay, Chris, I have to do this. So I'm not the best with like seeing number dates. So for
yeah,
me, I would give like Friday, I need to complete this by Friday. So I would work on that like that 7 days, 1 week period. So I will give myself, okay, when I wake up, I say, okay, today is Tuesday. What do I have planned for Tuesday? And as my dear colleague John, he likes to write down. I'm a write down kind of girl too. I also plan in my mind, but I like to ensure that, okay, I write down like these things I must accomplish. For example, I also assist in my church as the assistant treasurer. So I deal with everything computer, everything that needs to be done on the computer. So for example, I said I want to accomplish writing down all of the church records for this month and also the clerk. So all of that writing, I said, okay, I want to do it out today by Friday. So I say, okay, I have these amount of days to complete this by Friday. So I am that person that needs to complete work in a 5 day kind of period. And I also need to ensure that I have time for family and friends, because while persons can be able to go with work, I cannot do that. I need to ensure that I have time to breathe. I don't schedule in my time, but I know to myself that okay, I can spend. I will ensure that I spend at least an hour with my mother. She's watching a movie. I will come and sit and watch an hour with her. But after that hour, I know I need to get up and continue doing my work, because I know that okay, this is the amount of time and this is what I need to do. And this is what I had planned for the day. If mommy calls and said, Crystal, I need you to take me to town, for example, I had the meeting. So, for example, I can give you my plans for today. So, I had a plan for today to do this show. That was my major plan for today. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare, I'm going to sit, I'm going to calm myself down and be in a space of mind. Yesterday, one of our friends called and said there's a situation. My mother's like, okay, Crystal. This morning she woke me up and she's like, we have to go to town today. I have to do this. I said, okay, if we are going to town, just know that I have to be back up for 2 o'clock. No matter what, I have a meeting at 2. So she got her things done. So she was elated. So I'm like, she wanted to do so. I'm like, nope. I know it takes an hour at least from town to home. I need to reach out because I have an appointment at 2. So even though you still have to ensure that you make time for what you know is important, while other persons might be bringing things to you, it is important to them. Acknowledge the importance to them. Don't try to push aside persons but tell them, okay, yes, I can assist you in this light, but know that I also have other things to do and I cannot accommodate all that you want me to do. Like, for example, mommy wanted me to do some more stuff, but I was like, I can do this because I know that this is important, okay, and urgent. Let's do this. But also remember, I have this to do, and we have to come to a compromise. So, like, I think that's quite important in prioritizing. I have to ensure you leave time for some amount of flexibility. Remember in your mind what you need to do and how you need to accomplish and what amount of time you need to do so. And also, as I'm a little bit of Paul also, because in my mind, I like to keep things like in check. So like I'm good with the clock, but as I said, I'm not good with dates. So I know to myself that if I need to complete this assignment by next week, I want to complete it by this week. So I'll give myself the 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 the, the Sunday before the week ends. I would say, okay, I need to finish the assignment by Friday. So I know I have this 6 to 7 days. Well, no, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 6 days, as I was saying, yeah, 6 days to complete these assignments. So I give myself that amount of days to do it. So that's what I attempt, and that's how and in school work, how I prioritize that. So I have lecturers, and you have to know your lecturers, right? And for example, I had one lecturer last semester. It was an experience. This lecturer, she was not the most understanding. So she woke up one day. We had an assignment to complete. We had exams. We were doing we had on book 7 courses, but 3 of those courses were double courses. So it was like 10 courses we we're doing at once. And this lecturer, she just woke up and sent this assignment and told us she wanted it next morning. And I'm like, but doctor, you had all week to send us the assignment. I didn't tell her that. In my mind, I was like, I personally was messaging her, reminding her, please send this assignment as soon as possible because we have a lot of things to do and we need to ensure that we complete all assignments in a timely manner. She didn't. She was just pushing it. She didn't respond to me. So I was like, okay. I reminded her again, still no response. Then all of a sudden this night she woke up and she just sent this assignment and told us she wanted it the next morning. So I was like, what was the train of thought that went into sending an assignment tonight and expecting it tomorrow morning? It's like we have other things to do. And this time we had another course with another, so it was medicine and dentistry. And then she had an actual final exam the next day also. But this lecturer throughout the semester, she was quite harsh. If I asked, doctor, can you push the assignment back? She was like, no. There was no negotiating. I'm telling you, so when this happened, I started to pray. I'm telling you, I prayed. Because it's like, you know, you're going. It's like when Esther had to go to the king and then had an invitation. That was how I felt in that moment, because I knew I had to go and represent the students to the lecturer, because it was quite impossible for them to study for a final exam and also complete our assignment in a timely manner and still give our quality work. And everything was adding up, because this is the semester we we're all at home, and somehow we had 48 hours in the day, sorry. So slowing down, I prayed and I went to her and I asked, I said, Doctor, considering all of this, and I told her all that was happening, can you please see if you can be flexible or just give us at least another day? And I was shocked that she was willing to give us that extra day. I was so grateful. I'm telling you, when I saw the response, I had to refresh, close WhatsApp, open it back. I was shocked when she said, yes, we're going to get that extra day. But that's how I would prioritize my assignments for school. Number one, I will do like set the deadlines, and I would say, okay, I have this amount of work to get done. Then I would say, okay, um, I know this lecturer, I know that she's not flexible. So I'll be sure to finish those lecturer work first, because I know that there's no ifs nor buts. They're going to
Yeah.
minus 10 points, and I'm not about to give up 10 points. So I'll be sure to finish those first. Then I would go and do those that, like, I know that they're a lot more kind-hearted and they would be a little bit more considerate, because things do happen. Like assignments will just pop out of the air. You go to bed with no assignment, because everybody knows me. I'm the first to go to bed, like 10 o'clock, lights out. I need my sleep. So in light of that, you would like I would take time, like I would be cognizant of those pop-up assignments. So in light of that, you have to still have a little hour, okay, in case anything comes up, I have this slot of time. Let me finish those that came in and put that aside and send it off to the lecturers. I can remember one time I was like, I messaged lecturer like, Doctor, please open up this assignment. Let me send in this assignment now. And I sent her the assignment. She's like, you finished the assignment? I was like, in my mind, because I know final was coming up and I needed to complete it. So that's how I prioritize it. Like I know that I can't study and do assignments simultaneously and learn effectively as much as I would if I'm studying alone. So I would say, okay, I want to finish all my assignment at least a week before. So I would sit down, I would do as much as I can. And for me, you have to know what hours you're most productive.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a very social person. So at night, all my friends wake up. So I need to go to sleep so I can wake up in the morning when my friends are asleep and do the assignments. Because whole day I'll be talking, whole day I'll messaging my friend, all night I'm messaging my friend. I will be the least productive person alive. So for me, if I want to be productive, I would have to wake up in the morning early, a great while before dawn and put in some hours so that I could be able to enjoy my things that I like to do in the day. Because, everything happens in the creek open in the day. Well, not now that it's COVID, wink, but before. So you need to ensure that you set out your time and be able to complete the work. And this is how I practice. Like for school, as I said, let me just summarize all that I'm saying. For school, you need to know your lecturers well. Number two, know what is important, what needs to be submitted early and what can be postponed a little later. And also know and be cognizant of the persons in your life. So you have to, like, I know my mother, so I know that when she wants something to get done, I know I need to fit it in, right? Because as she would call me, she said, Krista, here's my backbone. So I should come and I don't know. You got to fix it somehow. So in doing these things, I'll be like, Mommy, yes, I'm your backbone, but I need to finish this assignment. This is art and come back just now. I know that just now is next 5 minutes. So I need to, so I said, okay, I'll plan it out. And I know I need to come back and get my work done also. And also take time for yourself, take time to breathe, and don't try to pressure yourself. Because I don't know, some person, yes, I work well under pressure, but after the pressure, I need to at least buy myself an ice cream before I go again to get some more pressure in, It's like the pressure pot, you got psh, then you cool down, then psh again. Similar to me, I go psh, need to cool down with ice cream or something, and then psh again. So
Thank you,
know
Crystal.
yourself and know what you can handle. Thank you.
Crystal, I think you need to write a book. Paul, what a storyteller.
I think we look. Crystal is a pressure reliever by herself. So we could just sit and listen to her and all our stress will go.
I definitely believe so. But the point I want to add, that you would have mentioned, is the fact that sometimes, you have to know when to say no, and you will have to say no to some people. And there are times when I will tell people, "Oh, here, in as much as I believe, okay, God would have given me an ability." So you may find many times I will accept like last minute invitations to do things. But then I have come to realize, especially since I finished school and I started this program, that prioritizing my time is ah, pertinent. So because of that, now there's some people I have to tell them no, and it's like because they're not accustomed hearing no from me. Man, should be kids, come on, it's just this little thing. But people don't realize that the little thing may need time to prepare the little thing. So because of that, instead of me shortchanging or going on the mediocre side, it's better for me not to. It's better for me to say no, right? And so for all of those individuals who are listening, let us remember that it's okay to say no as it relates to you when it comes to you accomplishing your task. The other thing I want to add too, in terms of Krista says she's not good with dates. One of the things I did is that, well, I did it last week. I printed out September, October, November, December calendar, the template of it. And so I have it in my room. Right now I'm looking at it. So what I started doing is the fact that I will write all my agendas on there, like for September month, October, whatever appointments I have. I place it right away on the calendar. So because every time I wake up, I'm seeing the calendar. So I can just flash back up to yesterday. I was like, okay, Monday, I know somebody called me on Monday, and I know I have 2 appointments on Monday. That's what I was saying to myself, right? Because remember, I said I don't forget events. So right away, it didn't take me long. I said, oh, yes, I'm supposed to do something at midday. So right away, I included that on my calendar. So because of that, so you have there are different ways, the different mechanisms you can use. The members of the panel, they would have shared a whole lot to each and every one of you. So we're expecting that after this presentation here, individuals who are suffering from time management issues or managing the 24 hour, let me use that, the 24 hours that we all have been allocated to, that we would be able to do that successfully. And what I want to know also in terms of, I don't know if, as it relates to individuals, so the question I want to ask you, if you think that the issue of time management affects a wide cross section of individuals. I'm not certain. I mean, you all in a different professional field. I don't know if you would have done any research on this, but I'll be very happy if you can briefly share on this. Do you think that this issue of time management affects a wide cross section of individuals?
I think it does because in our batch of nurses, we you can't procrastinate because there's a lot of work and the semesters are always packed. Like you have a lot of things to do. And it affects if you don't plan out your time, you will be down and you will have low grades and these type of things. I've seen people who have poor time management. They like cry, call the lecturers and cry because they're frustrated and these type of things. I have an experience. One of my friends called, and with all this so much work, she had a meltdown. Like she can't deal with it anymore. Like she feeling to drop out to quit. But we all need to like, yeah, we need to plan our stuff out and so that we
Thank you,
can have
John.
things in order.
Definitely, Shibiki. I cannot think of any group or category of people, uh, who is not that is not impacted or affected by their inability or ability to manage time. Probably the only group that in this short period of time that I heard a question that could probably come to mind is probably those prisoners who are there whose time is managed for them. You know, basically. But other than that, everybody in whatever field you're in, you have 24 hours available to you, and you have lots of things to accomplish within it, and you have to be able to manage it well. Some persons are good at it, while others are not as good, right? But your success, I would say that success is linked to our ability to to how well we manage our time, our success. Successful people usually are those
Yeah.
who have a plan. A plan is very important to your success. And a time plan, or a plan as to how you utilize time, is a very important one that lots of people do not take into consideration. I hate to see, well, let me don't use hate. I dislike seeing people just operate. Uh, if I use a common term,
Yeah.
harum scarum, in other words,
Mm-hmm.
lackadaisical. You're lackadaisical. You have you do not operate with any sense of purpose. It's what comes to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that will really get you nowhere. But if you have a structure that you can work with, that of course is flexible. We understand things will come up that you have to, realign and work your plan. But if you have a structure and you work that structure, you're going to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. And what Crystal mentioned time when she was talking, but I forgot to mention this. One of the reasons why I think persons have a difficulty with managing time is that we lack the ability to associate a period or length of time to an event. So for
Hmm.
example, so for example, I know that I have to go, let's just say, to GRA, right? Or I know that I have to travel to Burbies, or I have to prepare for an event. How well I manage is going to determine how well I associate a given amount of time to preparing for that event, to traveling to Barbies, whatever it is. So I have 24 hours and I have different events to accomplish, but I have to give a time frame or a time limit to those events. So,
Definitely.
so, so I have to prepare to go to church. And let me use this example specifically. So church begins at 9. I want to reach the church for quarter to 9. I know that it will take me 45 minutes. It will take me 45 minutes to prepare. And it will take me 15 minutes to travel from my home to church. So it means that if I want to reach the church for quarter to 9, then I need to start preparing by quarter to 7.
Hmm.
All right?
Yep.
So that is what we're talking about. Now, if I fail to start preparing by that time, it means that every other thing is going to be thrown off.
Yeah, definitely.
So as I mean, the challenge that some persons may have is being able to allocate time frame or a given slot of time to an event. And when we are able to do that successfully, we'll realize that we are better able to manage our time. And I think that's one of the things that I personally have been able to master. Well, don't let me say master, but to get a hang of it, right?
Yes.
So if I know I have to do X, I know I generally in my mind say, well, look, I gotta leave A time so that I can do whatever. And you always have to cater for those unforeseen
Exactly.
circumstances
Mm-hmm.
and events,
Yep.
right? So
So
everybody's affected.
thank you so much for sharing. Um, Mark, go right ahead.
I do agree with Paul and John because while studying at the University of Guyana and even coming down to where I now work, you see how time management is, it affects a whole host of individuals because even up to now I do struggle with it. So we are not alone, and even sometimes that sometimes I play a macho man. I even don't write down things sometimes that I have to get accomplished, right? And then my fiance will come and say, "Boy, you need to write down these things." And men how they like to play macho. And then you will hear
Mm,
me saying, "Oh, guy, I forget to do this thing." So not good planning. So I do believe that time management affects a whole host of individuals, not just a few. Everybody struggles with it.
thank you very much. Hi, Crystal. Welcome back. So we are on this question here. Do you think that this issue of time management affects a wide cross section of individuals? So you can go right ahead.
Oh, yes, I do believe that time management affects a lot of individuals. I think we're getting better because I realize a lot of persons are looking to self development, and we're coming and becoming cognizant of the importance of managing our time, and managing ourselves so we can effectively manage our time. So I think we're getting better. And these forums are allowing us and allowing others to become more engaged and becoming more aware of in effective ways of managing their time. I must say that I am also a victim. I'm really a victim because you put yourself in that you oftentimes put yourself in that position where you don't effectively manage yourself to use the time that you're given. So I'm not the best time management person. I'm not an expert, even though I'm here. But I think every opportunity to learn and grow and better improve yourself is one that we should take. And once you continue to actively strive to use your time better, you will become better. You see, actively work at it. We will get to where we ought to be one day.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And this issue indeed it affects a whole lot of individuals. And I was reading up on a research that was done by the Scholars Research Library. They decided to do one, but one of the things they did is that they tried to link time management with job stress. And one of the things they realize is that the amount of individuals who are affected. So many times when people come to you and say, "Oh, I'm on the job. I'm extremely stressed out." Most of the times, one of the things the research found out is that the job of itself is not stressful, but how they are managing their time, how they're prioritizing things, it is making it stressful for them. So when they have goals to attain within short-term goals to attain within a certain period of time, they can't accomplish it because why? They don't know how to prioritize. So because of that, they've discovered that that the amount of people in terms of who are in job situation, they are extremely stressed out because of this issue of not being able to effectively manage the 24 hours that they would have been allotted to. So I want to encourage our audience today. I mean, we are not apart from this issue because it might not, you might be sitting listening and say, "Hey, I don't have the issue. Not in school, I do my work on time." But when you check out your home, your chores to do at home, when you check out church, when you check out these different areas or aspects of your life, you will realize that most of the times one aspect will be church change because of prioritizing. So we have to be very, very careful with that. So we almost come into a close this afternoon. So I want to ask this question to as it relates to, so imagine if there's somebody from the audience, asking this question, or if you have, I want you to know how you will address this particular question. So the question is, if you have been allotted a specific amount of time for an important task, but you were not able to complete that task within the specified time. Briefly, can you tell us what steps you can take in that particular situation? Because we all would have listened to all the practical steps given, write down dates and do this and do the other. But then there's somebody who is saying, "Hey, after all, I have it. Um, the time has been allocated. I tried doing all of that, but then yet still, I was not able to complete that particular task within that particular time." What steps would you advise that can be taken for such an individual?
Well, the first thing I would advise them is to don't beat yourself up. And that's what I would say. Because when you take time to, like, oh my gosh, and start to stress about, I'm not finishing, you end up wasting time that you could have actually put into actually doing the work. So that's what, for me, that's the first thing I would do. I'd be like, okay, I was not able to complete this task. This is not the end of the world, Crystal. Just see when you can do it and put it, if you can put it for the next day, put it for the next day. Speak to someone, for example, if it's a school assignment, for example, and
Mhm.
you have a specific time to complete it and you are unable to complete it for some reason or the other, speak to the lecturer, speak to the representative, say, okay, I was unable to complete the assignment in the specified time. I'm not saying if you had the time you had and you were just there being like this, don't go lying and saying, oh, and start making up, oh, my cat died or something. No. Be honest about it, okay? If it's for a legitimate reason, things do happen, and as people we need to recognize things do happen. Speak and ask, okay, is it possible for me to have an extension on the date just by one day? I just need one, and be reasonable with yourself. If you know you don't, if you need more than a day, don't go asking for a day, and when a day is complete you're still not finished. Be reasonable. If you know you need 2 days, ask for 2 days. If they say no, there's nothing else you can do about it. Just submit what you have if you are willing to, if because I know, like, for some, if the due date's passed you can't submit it at all, so it's better to give something than to give nothing at all. For others, you might have a reduced mark due to the fact that you did not submit it on time. Then you could say, okay, do the best you can in that one extra day, and know that, okay, I'll miss it, taking away 5 points from my marks. And note to yourself, okay, this is what I learned from this experience. Look at it as a learning moment. Everything is a learning moment. You know what I mean? So if this do happen, look at it as, okay, I learned that I should not spend the entire night looking at Lifetime movies when I know I have assignment due the next day. Take my time,
Really?
my work, and then cry about it the next day. No, look at it, learn from it. Okay, this is what I could have done to avoid it. Do this. So I'll know that next time I will not be putting myself in that situation. But I said first, please.
Thank
I think the thing we
you.
often do is beat ourselves down. Please, let's not do that. Look for the benefit, look for what you learn, and grow from the experiences, and know to do better next time.
Thank you very much, Crystal.
Um, we have to know that not every time we allot a specific time for a task, we will be able to complete it within this specified timings, right? And however, we need to maximize the time we need to do it. And one thing I would say is that we should eliminate unhealthy distraction. There are
Hmm.
certain distractions that can't be helped, and we need to be at peace with that. But because life is life after all, and not everything will run smoothly. Um, for successful time management, you need to identify those unhealthy distractions and eliminate them. One of the great examples that we have this afternoon is our phones, our smartphones. Yes, they can be they're useful at times for many times, but they can be the point. It can get to the point of addiction, and that is an incredibly incredibly effective way to waste a bucket of time. And also, I must say that we must learn this, as we were saying earlier, we must learn to say no to people, especially even if you're kind hearted and you're willing to help. We have to learn to say no, and and recognize that we have this task to complete and complete it. And you can offer to help them at another time.
Definitely. Thank you, John. Mark, Paul?
Yes, Shibiki. Um, Looking at the question, there are some key things that I want to pull out from the question. It says that if you have allotted, so it says that as an individual, you have control of the allotment. In
Definitely.
some cases, you do not control that, right? For example, if somebody gives you a task, especially in learning institutions, and they say, "I need this at X time," you don't have control over that time frame. That is already set for you. But the question says that you have allotted a special amount of time for an important event, but you were unable to complete the task within the specified time. So then the other thing that we need to determine it what is the nature of the important event or task that you had to accomplish. That is going to help us to determine what steps can be taken. Christelle mentioned, for example, if it was an assignment, um, we'll treat that differently than if it was a task that you, a personal task that you would have assigned yourself, that you wanted to accomplish. You will know how to deal with it. For example, if I say, look, today I want to build a shade house or something in my yard to put my plants on. But it so happened that I was unable to accomplish that because some emergency or because probably there wasn't sufficient time. The steps that you can take is you could try to fit that part that was not accomplished or not completed into another day's plan or schedule, and that will be fine. But then there are other tasks that whereby when that deadline or the time that was allotted for it would have been passed or uh, would have reached, you cannot do anything about it. So you just have to learn from your mistake, and
Yeah.
in future, prioritize and make better time allotments and work harder to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. And as John said, um, try to eliminate the unhealthy distractions.
Hmm.
Sometimes the reason, really and truly, why we fail to accomplish certain things is because we are easily distracted as human beings. Easily distracted. All right. And so sometimes, if you're going to accomplish what needs to be accomplished within the time frame that you set out, you need to hold, as we say, hold a focus, right? Hold the focus and stick to it, get it accomplished. When we were growing up, the elderly folks always used to say there's a time and a place for everything. And so when you were young, you were always running after unnecessary things. Girl, at that point in time, um, girlfriend and other things. And they said, listen, a time is going to come when you have all the girls in the world. They're going to be there, right? Focus on what is important at that point in time.
Hmm.
Priority. Priority is a key word in time management.
Thank you very much, Paul. Mark.
Yeah, wonderful points, wonderful points. Well, as Crystal said, if it's you, don't beat yourself up. Just seek to be a little more diligent and committed to what you have to do. And as Paul mentioned, if you have to carry it over to the next day, if you don't have enough time that day, probably you can make that task that you didn't get to complete, make it urgent and prioritize it, right? And also let if you have to face some consequences for the task that you
Hmm.
didn't get to complete, let that be an example to be more diligent the next time.
Definitely. I love how you add that part. And that's why when I listened to Sister Deborah when she said, as much as you like to help your fellow students, try to avoid free riders in order for you not to be late. And that statement, thank you for that statement. That statement carries us to some of the question I want us to briefly, because we need to wrap up, that Dr. Haydar would have shared here. And he said, okay, we would have focused, even though today's like personal issues day, hence the focus is so much on individual type management. Um, I think we can tie in this in terms of team time management techniques, the methods that we can use. And how can we deal with a situation where one person in a group setting is unable to effectively manage their time and subsequently causes the entire group to suffer? So what are we going? We're gonna split up this question here, and the first time, what about time management techniques? I'm gonna ask one of you. You can look at that. The other person look at if there are methods that can be employed for time management in terms of the group setting, and then I'm gonna take two responses on the final question. How can we deal with a situation where one person a group setting? Because I know we all would have experienced that sometime or the other, where one person a group setting is unable to effectively manage their time and subsequently causes the entire group to suffer. So, who would begin with the first aspect of it?
Yeah, I think I may go with the first part of it.
Okay.
Um, team time management techniques. In one of my previous comments, I spoke to the issue of personality, and when it
Yeah.
comes to working with teams and groups, that is an important part that you have to look at. And so when a group comes together, it is a collaboration or combination of different personality types. Usually, in such a group, The choleric is going to be the person who may naturally take on the leadership or the management role in that team or group. In such a situation, that individual, whoever assumes the task of leading the group, must in some way or the other be able to determine what is brought to the group by each member. So in a short period of time, you have to be able to quickly assess and determine what each individual brings to the team, so that when it comes to the assigning of tasks and the accomplishing of goals, you will know who to give what, and who should, you have to study the persons, because and also, while when you study them, you also have to be able, as the leader, to prioritize. So as a team, we sit and we say, what are our priorities? What is the task? What is it that we need to accomplish? Okay, we know what we need to accomplish. Let's establish our priorities. What is it that we will work on first? We have to also, one of the benefits of working as a team is the ability to split up now. While we're working as a team, we can split. So you have to assign tasks to people. That helps to, to, to save time. So instead of me doing all the tasks, we have different members on the team doing specific tasks. And we must try to ensure that those persons who are on the team, the tasks that they are assigned, are tasks that they are capable of completing and competent enough to complete. Also, we want to try to utilize um, peak hours. In other words, people try to get people to work at a time when they are more focused. And also, if we meet as a team to achieve a particular objective, let us focus on that objective. Sometimes we can get carried away, and so you meet up as a group, and instead of trying to focus and accomplish the task that you would have been assigned, you end up talking about lots of things that that are not important or not priority at that point in time. All right, so that's in terms of team. You again, as different members in the group, you do not want to be doing all the tasks by yourself. So share out the responsibilities, delegate. That's the whole aim of having a team. Delegate responsibilities and activities, and let them each member contribute towards it. And also, I would just like to say, do not dominate the group, even though you're the leader. Do not dominate, but allow, probably in the selection process of tasks or the assignment of tasks, allow persons to choose which area they may be comfortable working with. Because when you choose the area that you're comfortable working with, it's more than likely that you will give it your best and do a good job. So I think, and sometimes also, as you try to achieve what needs to be achieved, you may want to take some breaks. All right, sometimes you at the idea of doing something all the time and you're not moving forward. Take a break, relax, take a light moment, and then regroup and come again. And you might be surprised how well your ideas flow and you are able to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. All right. So those are some techniques that you can use as it relates to team management. There are others that may come out as we go through.
Thank you, Professor. um, uh, too many at times, as leaders, as Paul brought out most of what I would now say, that we are not observant in terms of understanding people, and what are their strong points and so forth. In too many times in groups, we give work to a person that he may be strong in some other area. So I will go to Paul said, in terms of observing and highlighting personalities, and knowing that will help you in better dealing with what has to be done in terms of the task and stuff like that, as well as ensuring that what makes a leader is when you put them in a group, right? A leader is a person that just who delegates tasks, but he himself or she will have to do as well, right? So when that person is much more engaged as well, it also helps the group to function more. And I like that Paul said that we need to take breaks. Too many a time when we are in groups, we just like to want to do the work and finish. We don't want to take no breaks, put pressure on people. So those are some things that we can take into consideration while working in groups. And I love the last, and this is my last point, that we need to allow people to choose as well, because sometimes we may delegate, and that is not that person's strong point, and then that person procrastinates and doesn't know what to do and stuff like that. So these are the things that we need to take into consideration.
Thank you very much, Mark. Shanella, good afternoon to you. So we're going to go with the last part of the question. How can we deal with a situation when one person in a group setting is unable to effectively manage their time and subsequently causes the entire group to suffer?
Well, I think for this section, one thing one very important thing we need to have is good communication skills. This is when your communication skills is called to the test. Because now you have to go and talk to this person, especially if the leader of the group. You have to speak to this person in such a way so help them to understand that okay, this is what needs to get done, especially with group work. You need to understand that this is what we need to get done. And when it comes to group work, what I would like to suggest is that don't work with the class's deadline. Work with an early deadline in case there is somebody that you did not know or might have had something happen that might fall short. So therefore you still have time to pick up the slack and carry it on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's why I think good communication skill. 'Cause you have to speak to this person. If you see that they're languishing behind, and let me just give two examples. Number one, short to the point. Compared to medical school, you have one class. You're with this class for 5 years, for example, but mainly for 3 years. That's it, three.
Yeah.
So you know these persons in your class. You should be able to know their strength, know their weaknesses. So with that, you have an advantage. So you know, okay, if this person comes into your group, sometimes you have the opportunity to pick your group members. Thank the Lord for those great days. Other times you're placed in groups. Therefore, you have to still know your group members, know their strengths, know their weaknesses. And in that light, you can be able to know who to put to what and where. Like I know who in my class have bad time management skills. I could name them off my hand because I've observed. I know I would add myself to this because I'm not the best, but I still know who has a time management problem. So, like in those cases, I already know, okay, if I'm putting this person, I will know to divide the work. So if I know there's 10 person in this group and I know two person have, let's say two-person have time management issue, I will place them in a section in the assignment whereby I will have to put two persons to work on it. So therefore, if that one person falls off the slack or sends their work late, I already know that there's someone else there to pick up the slack and keep the ball rolling. Like we won't be languishing behind, right? So like that's one technique you can use. You have good communication skills. If you put them together, you know that that one will keep the other one on their toes to know you need to send in. If they're not keeping them on their toes, I know that they will come to me and say, this person is not doing the work. I need you to speak to them. So then I would jump in my inbox, well, their inbox, and be like, what's going on? Are you getting through? What is this? You let me see how I can help you. And I would talk to them and get them to get the ball rolling because I know that this needs to get done. That's one example. Stroll back to my USC days. USC. You might be thrown into, let's say, a general ed course. You don't know who you're gonna pick up, right?
So true.
So you have to pray. And so you pray for your group members, you get your group members, you don't know the persons in your group. What I would suggest is that you have a friend in every department, right? So then when you get through in these groups, you could do some research on your group members. I know I could if I could message my friend and said how this person has worked. It's like y'all the person is headache. I don't know why putting that person to do. It's not going to be nothing great or big. Because I'm not the person that likes to stress myself out. So if I know, I do some research. That's one technique I would advise. Do some research. So therefore you will be able to know on the individual. So you'll be able to know what to expect. So you won't
find yourself in a situation whereby your group will be suffering and you won't put too much pressure on somebody else. Okay?
Definitely.
So you
Hmm.
will have a good balance and the group will be able to grow. And as Paul said, know how you don't delegate, let persons choose what they're good at. Sometimes persons might not know what they're good at, and you as a person might recognize that they are good at something. Use your communication skills to let them know, I believe that you are good at this. And yes, you might not trust yourself fully at this time, but I think with this opportunity, and once you work with me, we can be able to do this together. I believe in you, and I know that I will help you to get where you need to be, and we both will be able to grow as a group. So, with that confidence and you working together, you see the persons could flourish. Because I can remember first semester, I had a student, a person in my class. She was not the most confident speaker. Now she is on a ball because she recognized and she allowed that opportunity to grow. So I think that's one thing you can do. Use your communication skills. Know the group members. If you don't know, find out. It's quite easy. I'm not saying go and talk bad about the person. No, I'm not saying talk. No, that's not. Please don't misinterpret me. I'm not saying to go and no, please. That's not what I intend. But it's quite easy to say, okay, is this person good at time management? Or you could even ask, I would advise just to ensure by say, Sister Crystal said, go and Mako or tap people name. No. Ask the person themselves. Let the person be true to you. Are you good with managing of time? Yes or no? Let them answer. Okay? And you can work with that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. John?
That was a lot Crystal said there. I must share an experience I had in the second semester of my first year that we were doing nursing research. And nursing research is a big subject. And we were placed, well, I have a group of five. We choose our classes together and these type of things. And this one time we have to get 10 members in the group. And we don't know, my five friends know how we just work already, right? So we say you could do this, you could do this. But the other children, we used to be, it was an assignment, it was a big assignment. And we we put them to do certain things and these type of things. And some of them you had to be begging them to, hey, come and do this. Hey, we meeting tonight. Let's do this. They we call them, we try to be kind, because the teacher said if anybody in pulling a weight, you tell the teacher. And we try to we the first time it happened, we called, we say, hey, we're gonna do this. Come online, let's do this. The person doesn't have no time, no time. They just on their phone all the time. You go on WhatsApp, you see them online. And they don't have they didn't had no time in doing their work or so. And we went they procrastinate so much that we end up telling the teacher, and the teacher take them out to the group. And I don't know what happened to him, but at least we lend out a helping hand to say, all right, come and do this, or we will help you to do this. If you can't do it, we have somebody to help you, or we will help you ourselves. And that's why I in the first semester, I like try to mingle with everybody, right? So find out how you just work and this type of thing, as Crystal was saying. You find out how did it work, and then now we have is me and four other people. We're in a group. We say, all right, we're here for 4 years and we're gonna be in groups together. So every time before the semester starts and we have to choose some courses, we call each other and we say, hey, we go pick these courses together, because if we will have group presentations, so we will be in a group. We don't have to ask anybody because we don't know
True.
how we this
And
work.
another thing I want to add, even as we wrap up, I want to add that even in your delegation of tasks or persons would have selected, ensure that there's a date attached there so that you know that this is a date that the group date. I think Krista would have alluded to it, but I just want to reemphasize it that the group timings is given there so that this is when you are submitting the work for the group. Because oftentimes we have people like to say, hey, the assignment is due till the 10th. Why are you asking me to bring it in the 7th? I've heard that so many times. But set a date so persons can submit their pieces so that you guys can collaborate. So our final question for this afternoon is this as we end this broadcast for today. I want to know if there are any biblical counsels as it relates to effectively managing our time.
I'll just pull up Ecclesiastes on one time.
Right away.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Somebody say amen. I won't read the
Amen.
rest. You could read the rest. But be cognizant. Also, what comes to mind as soon as I think about time, that text is the first thing. As soon as I heard biblical, I was like, that text. And the second thing that came to mind was the 10 of virgins.
Hmm.
Time. We all have the same amount of time. 10 wise and 10 foolish. What determined what they were wise? Not how they came, but what they did with the time that they had, and what they did not only with the time while they were there, but what they did to prepare. So bringing that here, prepare while
Mhm.
waiting, know what you're doing, and also in putting out, know what you're doing with your time. It all comes back to time. The bridegroom came. He came at his own time. That's not your business. Your business is what you are doing with your time. A lot of times we like to decide like what somebody else can do with their time and they should be doing this or what. For example, people like you should be studying Crystal. Why are you doing this? I'm like, let me enjoy my time. It's my time. I
Yes.
don't I don't plan out to spend this time at what I'm doing currently. Let me enjoy my time. Yes, sometimes I might call some friends crying. Not often, but sometimes, but be cognizant of what you do with your time. And as we know, time and tide waits on no man. Before I go, I just want to give one shout out to two of my friends. I see Noelle is on here, and I see Karima. Well, she was on. I heard her name called.
And
Just
as
want to
we know,
shout you
time
girls
and
out.
tide
Thank you,
waits on
medical
no man.
student.
Before I go,
All the
I just want to give one shout out to two of my friends. I see Noelle.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So we're gonna take the other three. What are there any biblical concepts related to time management?
Um,
In Psalm, oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I think we have the same text, Mark. In Psalms 90:12, it says, Moses prayed,
What the fuck is
teach
that?
us the number.
Only guy you would hear that from, right? All right, go ahead, John.
Teach us to number our days that
Hmm.
we gain a heart of wisdom. A good way to gain wisdom is to learn to live each day with an eternal perspective. Our Creator has set in our hearts, knowing that we will have to give an account to the one who gives us time. We should motivate ourselves to use it wisely. C.S. Lewis understood this. If you read, you will find out that Christians who did the most for the present of the world were just those who of the next, thought most of the next. In his letter to the Ephesians, Paul cautioned the saints, be very careful how you live, not unwise, not as the unwise, but as the wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Living wisely involves using our time carefully, knowing that the harvest is great and the workers are few in Luke 10:2, and the time is rapidly dewinding should help us to make should help us should help make us better to use our time to witness both through the word and our example, our lives. Um, we should we are to spend time loving others in deed and in truth. in First John 3:17 and 18. There is no doubt that the responsibilities and pressures of this world via our attention, the myriad of the pulling us in different directions, make it easy for our time to get swallowed up in the Monday lesser matters. Those endeavors that have eternal value then often get pushed aside. To avoid losing focus, we need to prioritize and set our goals. Additionally, to what to whatever extent we need to whatever extent possible, we need to delegate. Recall how Moses' father-in-law Jethro wisely taught him to delegate some of his heavy workload. So we must make God our top priority, and because He is a God of order, and we should strive to make things in order, to get our lives in order.
Thank you very much, John. So we have Paul and Mark remaining.
It's by John covered all of my text, but I have another one here. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 1, it says, Remember now thy creating the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So God is encouraging us to, utilize the time that He has given us to know Him, not just in our youth, because not everybody will get to know Him in their youth. But God just wants us to get to know Him, utilize that time. And I believe when He comes and we be in sync with God, we will try to be in sync.
Yes, yes, Shibiki. Um, the one text or two texts that I'll probably share. Ephesians 5:15 to 16 says, Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise but as wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. That text, while it is spiritual in nature, says to us that we have something to do, something for God, and that we must make the best use of the time. In other words, it is saying that, sometimes we really don't use time wisely. And so it is calling us to take grip of that fact or take note of that fact and to start using the time that has been allotted to us by God wisely. Because, in another version it says redeeming the times because the days are evil. Now, I would just want to be a little spiritual and say that the times that we're living in now are serious times. They are perilous times. They're not times to be wasted, but it's time for us to sort ourselves out with God and as well to encourage others to sort themselves out. The other text that I would want to share is Colossians 4:5. Colossians 4:5 says, Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time. In this text, Paul was speaking to the people at Colossae, and he was telling them to make the best use of the time that they were given. Because, ultimately, none of us know if tomorrow belongs, well, it says tomorrow belongs to no man. But none of us, know if tomorrow is going to be a reality for us. And so, because of that, we should make the best use of what is here, what we have. Make the best use of what we have while it is available to us. Can I share a quotation from Ellen White that guides me and helps me to manage my time wisely?
Go ahead.
In the book Christ's Object Lesson, she says that our time belongs to God. Every moment is His, and we are under the most solemn obligation to improve it to His glory. But this is the part that I really like. Of no talent, and Drayson earlier mentioned that time is one of the four T's.
Dylan.
Oh, good. Of no talent He has given, will He require a more strict account than of our time. Now, that is the quotation that I read. Now, why did I decide to go and do research as it relates to time and time management? Not now, a long time ago. It's because sometimes I realize, our church services go beyond what they should go, they don't start on time, etc. So I decided that I need to find out, what is happening. And when I saw this quotation, it even gave me more courage to keep pressing for the effective management of time. Ellen White says that, look, of all the talents that you have been given, that we have been given, we will have to give the strictest account of how we utilize the time that God would have given to us. And so, if we, of the 24 hours that He would have allotted to us in a day, if we just squander it by doing useless things, um, as we would say, waste the time, we got to give an account. We have to give an account. And so, with that in mind, I decided that, look, I will ensure that I manage the time that God would have given me wisely, so that when it comes to giving an account for it, at least I could be able to give a faithful and true account as to why and how I would have used the time that He would have given me. So I am hopeful that this little discussion that we had this afternoon will help us to realize that time is not just time. Time is a talent given to us by God that must be stewarded properly.
Man, thank you so much, Paul. Even as we bring this program to a close, I just want to place two comments on the screen by Andre. It says, okay, it was a wonderful program today. A lot of seriousness and a hint of laughter. A mountain of encouragement was shared. Extend my thanks to them all. So, panelists, thank you so much. And even Sister Collins has extended her thanks to you. And she said, I'll try to utilize my time more wisely. Thank you very much. All right, so this brings us to the end of today's program. And I just want to encourage you all, join us again on Wednesday. You remember Wednesday is our relationship day, and we are looking at the issue, we're looking at problem solving strategies in relationship. And Wednesday is always a hot day in which we have our young people coming together and sharing points. And some of them, I wonder if they're married or not, but they have a wealth of knowledge when they're ready to type. So keep your energies in for Wednesday. Thank you all for those of you who would have joined us. And I want to say thanks very much to John, Crystal, Mark, and Paul for being on the program this afternoon. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you to close us in prayer as we broadcast.
Yes, no problem. They just for persons who may want to check out the full quotation, Crisis Object Lessons, page 342. You could check it. There's another paragraph right under that one that I give you that is very, very interesting. So you can check it out. Crisis Object Lessons, page 342. All right, 342. Good. So let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for your goodness towards us. We thank you for the time that you would have given to us, and that this afternoon we are able to spend it wisely uh, in discussion that is hoped to bring about a change in the way we operate as human beings. Help us, O Lord, in those areas in which we are weak, and continue to give us the strength to grow in stronger from grace to grace. Continue to bless this program, the hearers of it, as well as the organizer, Sister Shibiki Vipers. We pray that it will continue to touch hearts and change lives. Help us to have a beautiful remainder of the day and the remainder of the week. We thank you in no other name, but in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you all. See you